So, how do you find your purpose? Today, we're going to cut through all the noise with this really powerful Japanese framework called Ikigai. And listen, this isn't some long, drawn-out lecture. It's a simple 10-minute method to help you find your direction.
Let's just start with a really direct question. Do you ever feel lost? You know that feeling like you're definitely moving, but you're not actually going anywhere?
Yeah, it's that feeling of being constantly busy, right? Your calendar's full, you're endlessly scrolling through feeds, but at the end of the day, you just feel empty. It's a strange, very modern kind of paradox. Now, what's really important to get is that this feeling is not a weakness. It's not some personal failure, and it for sure isn't a sign that you're broken. Actually, it's the total opposite. It's a signal. Think of it as your mind and your body telling you, hey, the old goals, they just don't fit anymore. It's basically an invitation to find a new direction.
Okay, so let's dig into why so many of us feel this way. Because this feeling isn't an accident. You could almost say it's been engineered by the world we're living in right now. It really boils down to three main things. First, we have way too many options, which just leads to paralysis, right? No direction. Second, we're constantly pushed to chase external goals, kind of like puppets on a string. And third, we're so overwhelmed by digital noise 24/7 that we can't even hear our own inner voice anymore.
And this right here, this is the core of the problem. We chase things like money and status because, well, society tells us to. But we almost never stop to ask ourselves these deeper internal questions. And without that alignment, even the biggest achievements can feel completely hollow. So how do we start to fix this? Well, let's move on and see how this concept of Ikigai can be a super practical compass to help us navigate all this confusion.
The word is Ikigai, and its meaning is just beautifully simple. It's your reason for being. It's the reason you get out of bed in the morning. That's it. No fluff, no mystery. And this is where we have to bust the biggest myth about Ikigai. It is not some grand, world-changing mission. It can be simple, it can be quiet, it can be totally grounded, like tending your garden, or teaching kids, or perfecting a craft. It doesn't have to impress a single soul, it just has to be true for you.
Now, this is the modern framework you've probably seen. It breaks Ikigai down into these 4 intersecting circles. It's a useful tool, for sure, but it's often way overcomplicated. The goal here isn't to overthink it into a corner. It's to use these questions as a prompt for some really brutal self-honesty. Which brings us to the core of this whole thing. You don't need a weekend retreat or some fancy journal. All you need is 10 minutes, completely uninterrupted, and a promise to be 100% honest with yourself. No overthinking allowed. Okay, you ready? Here's the method. Step 1, energy. For 3 minutes, just list what you do when time just melts away. That's your fuel. Step 2, skill. What just feels easier for you than it does for other people? Don't be humble here. That's your unique talent. Step 3, problem. What problem in the world just genuinely bugs you? What makes you say, I wish I could fix that? And finally, step 4, value. Could somebody, somewhere, actually get value if you applied your skill to that problem? After those 10 minutes, you're going to combine your answers into a simple sentence that looks something like this. Now listen, this is not a permanent life mission carved in stone. Think of it more like a starting hypothesis, a direction to just start walking in. But look, clarity without action is totally useless. So let's talk about the most important part, how to turn this little bit of insight into real-world momentum. First, let's look at the traps. So many people wait for this perfect 100% certain path to just appear before they take a single step. Or they try to copy someone else's purpose, but it just never quite fits, you know? And the big one, they start, but they quit the second it stops being fun and exciting. And trust me, it will get difficult. So here's your 30-day action plan. Simple. First, commit. For 1 month, just live by that Ikigai sentence you wrote. And track your effort, not the results. Second, remove the distractions. I mean, be ruthless. Cut out the noise so you can actually hear yourself think. Third, measure your energy. At the end of each week, ask yourself one simple question. Do I feel more alive? And this brings us to the final and maybe the most important truth of all. Purpose isn't something you just discover, like buried treasure. It's something you build, brick by brick, through committed daily action. The meaning, it comes after the effort, not before it. So really, the only question left is the one you see right here. Your 10 minutes of honest reflection can literally start the second this is over. So, what will you build?